welcome to another episode of Three Conservative Gimps, where we talk about anything political, from dog catcher all the way up to world leaders and everything in between, where we give you the straight truth. Well, from a conservative point of view, we give you the facts, the figures, everything, so you can make a good decision at the the ballot box. That's what I'm talking about. So stay tuned and welcome to the show. We got a good show tonight. We had a bill that was signed into law over the weekend. The big, beautiful bill passed and signed by Donald Trump. We're going to tell you what's in the bill and peel away the garbage you've been hearing on the lamestream media, like the big three networks and PMSNBC and the Communist News Network. We'll talk about the bullshit those guys are spreading about the bill and the politicians that are just lying through their fucking teeth about it. So we're going to give you the straight stuff, straight up, straight out, in and out, good stuff about it, and what it is and what it isn't. And also we'll talk about the tragic flooding in Texas and some of the heroes and some of the zeros in that. So let's start this show. Let's welcome all the way from Muskogee, Oklahoma, where the ground is high, but it's not dry. Let's welcome Lloyd Mendenhall.
Hello. Welcome, everybody. Hey, how you doing, Art?
I'm doing all right. I'm just tired. Did another 9.5 hour day and working my butt off. Don't get me started.
You started it. You started it before you started the show. You were sitting there by yourself yawning. It's like, man, you started it. But no, it was 92 today, and we've been running in the 80 to 90% humidity the last few days. So it's just sopping wet. I sit here and my shirt just gets soaked. I have to take it off when I'm not on camera.
Yep. So it was a nice. Well, it started off hot and sunny, and right after lunch, the clouds started rolling in, and while we were working, you see a flash because we have skylights, and we see a bright flash, and then a boom, the crash of thunder, and then it rained pretty hard for about 10 minutes, and then when I got out of work, the sidewalk was dry, so it didn't rain very long, but it was it cooled us off. It was nice after that. I could tell it rained because my windshield was all dirty, because that rain just leaves water spots all over the windshield. So let's welcome words. There's no water spots in his life. He's got plenty of water. Let's welcome Charles Skoleski.
Hello, Charles.
Do Vidanya. You are correct, comrade. We'll use the mallet box and the power of the party to beat the submission. Beat the opposition into submission.
Yep.
That's it right there. Beat them into submission.
They got a candidate named Zoran Mamdani.
Yeah.
Boy, that sounds like a Ben Stiller movie right there. What was the name of that? Zoltran or Zorro?
Don't mess with the Zohan. And it was
Zohan. Yeah. Well,
it wasn't Ben Stiller. It was the guy who does 8 Crazy Nights. He was in Oh, he was in the golf movie, and it was Billy something or other. He's done a whole boatload of movies.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we'll save that for a little later in the show. We'll probably close out the show with talk about that character. Alrighty, so let's talk about the big beautiful bill that passed and was signed into law on July 4th, which was awesome. I mean, it looked pretty close, like it wasn't going to pass, and then it finally got across the finish line, and Trump signed in the law. And so let's talk about the BS that's going on out there, how it's taking food away from starving children and people not getting their Medicare and all that bullshit. No. People are still going to get Medicare. Just illegals aren't, and they shouldn't.
Yeah, they're just getting rid of the ones that, well, and this is a combination of two things because Medicare and Medicaid, they're all part of the Social Security Administration covers that. And what they're doing is on the Medicaid, which is for those that don't have enough money to, and you can be, if you're disabled and you can be any age and you're at a low income, you can get Medicaid.
Right.
Sometimes to supplement your Medicare.
Right.
But with Medicaid, what they're doing is if you're able-bodied and you don't have, they're expecting you to work, put in, even if nothing else, doing volunteer work of some sort. Show that you're out there trying to better yourself or at least better society with so they got a work requirement on those that are able. There's not going to be any 27-year-olds that have lived in their mama's basement for so long and mama passed away and now they got to move upstairs, but they don't know how to earn a living. So those are the kind of people that will be required to get out and get a job, work at McDonald's, and
or
also
community service,
or do community service, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or, and it's also getting rid of those that are here illegally. Right. It was where they'd come across the border, they'd hand them their medical benefits right off the bat. That's not going to happen, and that's going to cut a lot of the waste.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing as far as Medicare goes. They're not touching Medicare.
Right.
They're getting rid of those that have been drawing it fraudulently or that are able, or Waypoint New England
Bill for
drones. Yeah.
And also, what I wanted to touch upon. Oh God, I had a brain fart there. It was there and then it went away. It was. Oh, I know what it was about. What I was going to say, and then I lost it again. And it's like, man, I'm tired. It's
called getting old, Art. Getting old.
It is. It is. And I know what it was. It's about how hospitals can charge for Medicare. So what they did is they changed it to where they couldn't charge more than what insurance companies charge, because that's how hospitals were making a crap ton of money.
Oh yeah.
It was on Medicare, and it's like they're screwing the system.
Yeah, and I can vouch for that, having looked over all the bills that came in on Judy. They bill for let's say they bill for like $700. They send it in. Well, it's only approved for $400.
Right.
So they write off the $300, and that's a tax write-off. So they're making money there, and and in the end, it's only approved for, and they have to take what is considered, or they used to have to take what is the general
Yeah, usual and
acceptable
customary.
amount. Yeah. And now I think with this new one, they're not going to be billing for no $700. If an insurance company only pays $400, that's what they're going to bill for, $400.
Right.
And I've been watching it for years with Judy's doctor bills, hospital bills, and they always build about, and so you get a bill from them that's like, it says, this is not a bill, this is just a statement of what your charges are.
Right.
And you're in a panic because you know that your insurance is only going to pay $400 out of a $700 bill, but they've sent you one for this whole $700, and they're not going to be able to be doing that kind of stuff.
Right.
They're going to have to. They're going to have to bill what is considered the average for your state.
Right. And I hope they go after dentists, because dentists.
Oh my God, they're the biggest ripoffs in the world.
Oh God, I had a neighbor. Their daughter. I mean, this is before she lost her baby teeth. She had her teeth capped, and it's like, why? I mean, couldn't you just fill the cavity, and that's how the dentists make their money. Like these corporate dentist office, like Comfort Dental, and those kind of places. And they really screw over,
looky.
pediatric dentistry by, they'll make the kids get crowns, and they could charge. Oh, the parents don't have to pay for it. No.
And they did that. They were doing that, especially with minorities that had problems speaking English and stuff and didn't understand it. They were putting these kids through absolute torture, putting these crowns and caps and braces on baby teeth that were going to fall out.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And hey, Kai, welcome. And I want to say hi to Alexis.
In the chat, we've got Steve Knowles. We've got Kai, Lone Star UAV. And we got Captain Joe Merca, USA Drone Flyer. We've got Brad, Nana's Attic. We got Brian, Waypoint, New England. And, of course, the effervescent Alexis is in the chat. And we got Mark R. White, all the way from jolly old England. And Charles Gillespie. And I think that is about it. So we got a good group tonight.
Yeah,
which is great. Cool.
A little bit more than usual. So, and there's one. Look at there.
Oh, there's Lon Denard.
Man, there must not be anything on tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slumming it.
But yeah, I mean, I hope a lot of this will stop a lot of the fraud. That's because, well, it's like with me, the way it's set up right now is I go to my regular doctor to get my medicine, but he can't prescribe it all because some of it is I have a mild pain pill. He can't prescribe it.
Mild.
It's tramadol. It's about as low as you can get. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
VA used to give them out until suddenly somebody said, "Oh, those are addictive," and they quit giving them out. But anyways, so I got to go every 60 days to see another doctor, in which I have to pay $30 extra above what my bill is because that's my cost share. Yes, you're effervescent, Alexis.
Yep.
Anyways, so I have to pay because this person is a pain specialist. They put the names, and it's just another way for them to spread the wealth amongst themselves. Doctors used to be able to prescribe any kind of medicine. Now they don't.
Yeah.
And I've been on this stuff for 20 years probably.
Right.
And I never take more than what I'm supposed to. Matter of fact, I usually end up making one prescription last about equal to 3 prescriptions. But
Yeah.
I have a bad day, I like to have that extra pill if I need it. You
There
know,
you go.
it's just,
Mm-hmm.
but it's ridiculous. These
Mm-hmm.
doctors have come up with a way to, oh yeah, you need to go see. It's just like I had to go see somebody about my ankles because they were hurting so bad,
Uh-huh.
and I had to pay this guy $30 because he
Oh,
was a specialist. He was a podiatrist.
mm,
He's a specialist.
right.
And basically, he told me he spent 5 minutes in there, flexed my feet a couple of times, said, you got a shortened Achilles tendon. You need to stretch that.
Yeah. Okay.
Where my doctor told me, well, there's some bone growth down there, and they're probably going to require surgery. Well, this doctor says, but come back in 6 months if it's not better. And he gives me these funky exercises to do. It's like,
There you go.
or I could just wear cowboy boots and that would solve the problem. Like,
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
and I've got several pairs of cowboy boots, just
Wow.
slipping on my tennis shoes.
Yeah, I haven't worn cowboy boots in years, but now with my left ankle swelling up all the time, I just can't wear cowboy
Yeah,
boots.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I could if I got the right size and I was able to. It'll be loose on the right shoe, but it'll be like compression socks almost.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like they're charging this and charging that, and every time you go see a specialist, it's used to you went and saw another doctor and it was the same price. Your medicine paid, your Medicare paid for it, but they
Mm-hmm.
found a way around that now, so they charge extra for it. It's like,
Right.
this is ridiculous, and
And,
Yeah.
and it's
I
it's
think
nothing
that.
new. It's
Yeah.
nothing new. My mom told me this story when I was a little kid. Going to my, you know, our family doctor. My family doctor as a little kid. Visit $25. The
yeah,
moment that my dad got health insurance, that visit became a $250 visit.
Wow.
yeah,
Well, that's just a good point. We're two different sides or widths of. Okay.
cowboy boots. Yeah, you can do that. You can sometimes you can go to a good boot store and they'll let you, you know,
Mm-hmm.
mismatched set. Yeah.
Cool.
And Lon, I agree with you. Doctors suck.
Yeah.
I had the same doctor for 43 years, and
Wow.
he never had a problem. If he needed a little, this doctor tells him, well, I don't have the right schooling. I'm
Mm,
thinking, well, you went to medical, and he's not young. It's not like he's a new guy just out of medical school. This
yeah, he was still
thing had
doing
for 20
bloodletting.
years. You know, I'm surprised. I'm not real happy with my new doctor.
Yeah.
I go in there, I wait. It's a 2 hour, 3 hour ordeal driving from here
Right.
up to Broken Arrow and back. It's usually 3 hours because then I got to sit there and wait, and it's like, oh my god.
Right.
And
Oh,
now I just go ahead, go ahead.
my doctor, they just switched over to Optum. And it's like, oh, their phone tree is horrendous. And every time I call over there, they're supposed to be open at 8 o'clock. So I call at 8:30, figure, oh, I'll be one of the first ones in, and I could finally schedule my colonoscopy. And I kept getting bumped out. I'd listen to the phone tree, and I press the right button for scheduling and I'm waiting. I hear the music, and I hear and now to make this shorter and do this and blah 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 blah, and then it kicks me out, and it's like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah,
So I'll probably end up going down to the office and actually make the appointment there. And it never used to be that way.
no, that's been, and again, because everything is on, all of your information is in their database.
Right. Mhm.
And of course, our providers, their database got hit with the ransomware, and then they got hacked.
Mhm.
And I've been fighting the last 6 months to a year to keep my identity, get my identity back because it's
Right.
just it's just ridiculous.
Mm.
And
Yep.
but yeah, hopefully with some of these changes, they're going to eliminate some of that. Like you said, the hospitals can only charge what regular insurance companies would
Right.
pay.
Yeah. I mean, you ought to listen to Gavin Newsom just going on about it. It's like, oh God, and this guy wants to be president. He's full of shit. Yeah.
Well, everybody knows he is, but that's
Yeah. Yeah. Part of me thinks, yeah, let him be the candidate because I think uh, any of our guys could just trounce him. I
yeah,
think, yeah.
yeah. I'm
Like,
actually looking at the next ticket of being, of course, JD Vance
yeah,
will
JD
be the
Vance.
head of the ticket. But I'm also looking at, because they've really been letting him speak out, and he's been doing a lot of stuff. And that's Mark Wayne Mullen, our senator from Oklahoma.
Ooh,
He's really starting to make a name for himself there in Washington.
right,
Yeah. Of course,
right.
he's the one that started to take off his rings and everything with that union boss that was
Oh yeah,
wanted to
I
have.
know. Yeah, it looked like he was gonna,
Oh, he was.
have it right there. Oh boy,
Well, he was actually a
MMA.
MMA fighter at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
he was ready to pull off. He was
Yeah.
pulling
Oh,
rings
you
off.
want to go for it?
Yeah, and he started.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey, hey, come down, come
yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep. Uh, let's see. Owen Polis, he wants to be president, and it's either going to be Polis Newsom or Newsom Polis ticket,
Yeah,
and it'll be against either J.D. Vance, Mark Wayne Mullen,
yeah. I don't
Marco
think
Rubio, or
yeah.
who's
Well,
governor of Florida? DeSantis.
DeSantis. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
I could see
those are the top four right there.
Mark Wayne Mullen in the cleaning industry. No,
No.
no, but he is in the sewer industry, so he would know how to drain the swamps.
Yep. And so, yeah. And it looks like I was watching a video on YouTube, one of the platforms. They were talking about how Democrats may never win a majority in the Senate for quite a while because there are a couple factors. People are not splitting tickets anymore. Normally you'd have, like in some of the states, you'll have one Republican, one Democrat.
Right,
And
right.
people are not doing that anymore. And I think,
Well, yeah, I think it's because is all of the bitching and griping that they're doing about the big beautiful bill. The Democrats don't have all they can do is throw out their typical hate stuff, and
right. Hmm.
they have nothing to offer. They had the opportunity; they could have put something in there, or maybe they could have. Uh,
Yeah, they could have been part of it, but they
it took the
chose
Republican
not to.
Party. It was the Republican Party, and they had to make compromises with each other
Right,
because the Democrats weren't going to vote for it, no matter how good it was, you
right.
know, or how bad it was. They didn't care. They were going to vote against it because it had Trump's name on it,
Right. They
and
could
it was
could have
they
gotten
could
some
have
of their stuff in it if they wanted to, but nope,
if
they
they had
decided.
yeah, they could have at least given it a try, but they don't. They had I hate to say it, but they're in the same boat the Republicans were about 10 years ago. You know,
Yeah, with Obama.
yeah,
Yeah,
during Obama, we didn't have anything to offer. We kept saying, "Well, we'll repeal this if we ever get." No, no, you got to have you got. How would you? What would you do to replace it? They
right.
never. And when they did get a majority, they didn't have anything. It was just like
Yep.
so. It did. That majority lasted all of 2 years, and they were back to underdogs again.
Mhm. 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 Yeah, and
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, you're right, Lon. Kamala does handle polls better. Yep. Yeah, and she handles her vodka pretty well too.
Yeah,
Yep.
she's Yeah, yeah.
Oh boy.
She's a social drinker, and every
Yeah.
moment in her life is a social moment. So
Yep. Yep. Unburdened by the burdens of the past. Yep, that's
right,
right. hmm
yeah,
And yeah.
makes absolutely
Oh.
perfect sense. Yeah, I understood every bit of that.
Yep. Yep. She she ought to be a farmer. She knows how to make salad, word salad.
Well, she ought to work in the restaurant then, because,
There you go.
but
You better.
she could be a farmer because she does know how to spread bullshit,
Yeah, she does. She
spread
does.
that fertilizer better than anybody. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so we could slide on into our next topic, which is the tragic flooding down in Texas, down in Kerr County, and
yeah,
how you know we had a lot of heroics from local and state fire departments. So looking for now, it's looking like there's a couple hundred people who are dead. Yeah.
yeah, I know it was well over 100 the last time I checked, and I
Yeah,
haven't seen what
and
it
then
is
there's
yet.
100 and something missing. I'm like, going, you put that on
Yeah,
top.
yeah,
It's
yeah. It's probably going to be
wow.
over 200. Yeah, yeah, and
So
and I don't. It was such a tragedy, and
yes,
it's not. And they say, well, it could have been helped if. No, this happened so fast. It
right,
happened in the middle of the night.
right,
Uh, the I mean, it rose what 24 feet in an hour. I mean,
right,
that's unheard of. That's just,
right.
and they know that the Guadalupe has gone out of its banks several times. I guess
Oh yeah,
this
yeah,
happens quite regularly, but this one just was worse and more devastating, and just
right,
it's a terrible tragedy. And
right.
there's really hindsight's better than foresight, but I don't even think they're going to be able to find anything of that would really
Mitigate the damage
mitigate
or the deaths.
or make it. I don't think they would find anything that they could have done differently. You
Well,
know.
Yeah.
not according to Democrats. They're
Well, yeah,
all
that's what I'm
blaming
saying.
Trump
Yeah,
because
somehow or another it became Trump's fault.
yeah,
Something
because
about
he cut the weather
national,
stuff.
yeah, the National Weather Service, but it turned out they were actually overstaffed that night.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Uh, they had more than enough staff in there,
Right.
and to
Yep.
fly drones, even though it's a TFR. Yeah,
Yep.
one hit a helicopter and took
Oh
it out. So
wow.
yeah, and
Oh my.
that's yeah. There's always stupid people doing stupid stuff whenever
Yep.
we have one of these tragedies, and
Right.
it's just I don't know what. Sometimes I just shake my head and wonder what in the hell is wrong with the human race,
Right.
And
Well, and speaking of stupid, there was a pediatrician out of Houston saying those people deserved it because they voted for Trump. I'm
yeah,
like, oh, holy,
that's the kind of person that needs to be. Somebody needs to, probably the parents wouldn't do it, but I think there's probably a few aunts and uncles out there that might want to go out there and beat the shit out of that guy. Because
right.
I'm
Well,
sorry,
she lost her job.
good,
So, yep.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and a pediatrician, somebody who's supposed to care for children.
Right.
That's
Right.
and these were children that died, and that's the. I hope that person has the rest of their life to think how
Right.
insensitive and
Right.
ignorant they sounded.
hmm
You know, I
hmm
heard about that, and I'm going. Somebody
Yeah.
needs to take that person out and just somebody didn't get enough whoop ass opened up on them when they were kids. Mommy and daddy
Yeah.
didn't.
hmm Yeah.
There's a
It's
canyon
just
down there mostly doesn't have cell service. Yeah, so even if the warnings went out,
right.
they were not received. Yeah, yeah.
hmm Right.
How far was because Kai, you know that area, I think, a little better than I would. Anyways, how
think
far
it's
is Bernie, Texas from that area that camp was at? Because on the map, it looks like it's sort of in the same area,
right.
within 20, 30 miles. Because when Judy and I went down to Texas, South Texas, for our first trip down there, we came back and stopped, and we ended up at a campground in Bernie, Texas. And then they sent a, God, it was a 45-minute drive from San Antonio to come out and pick us up and take us by bus, so we go on a bus tour that day. So
Yeah.
of the missions area, but
Mhm.
yeah, so and I don't know how close that, but when I'm looking on the map, Bernie looks fairly, and it's not spelled Berny either.
Right.
It's spelled, anybody else would call it Bourne, Texas,
Ah,
Boern.
30 miles from
Yeah,
Kerrville.
okay, all right.
Okay.
So yeah, so we were in. I thought we drove through that area when we was, because I remembered Kerrville, but I couldn't remember why. And then I started looking on the map, like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm. And Colorado's had its tragedies too. I mean, who can forget the Big Thompson
I was just
flood?
going to say the Big Thompson flood. That was, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I almost drowned in that damned river
Yeah.
when I was a little kid. Dad used to, up there at the spillway where it comes out of the, I don't know where it comes out of, but anyways, it's just rushing white waters,
Right.
and he was sitting down there on the bank, and it was a picnic area up there, and he was down there fishing, and I was just a, little feller, about
Yeah.
three and a half,
Screwing
4 years
around.
old. Yeah, and I decided I'd surprise Dad. Well, I surprised him all right. What happened is, when I got up to the edge and I was going to sneak up on him, my feet hit that damp grass and I slid straight out into the water. And it was
Oh boy.
rushing water. And he was sitting there, and all of a sudden he sees me float by, grabs, and I had on bib overalls. He just grabs me by my bib overalls, puts me back up, sets me back down, and says, "Now get up there." My mother is freaking out, but yeah.
Oh yeah. He probably had a
Scared
lot of
that.
choice words after
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was ready to, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Probably
So I'll
the
never
the
forget
J
on the
word
river.
and the C word and
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
JC
He
word
wanted to get me,
together.
that's for sure, and I probably deserved it, because
Yeah.
But I remember falling in that thing just like
Yeah.
it.
You're the damn dumbest kid and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
I bet.
you know, and of course I was freezing my ass off, because that is, let me tell
Oh
you,
yeah,
Big Thompson's cold.
that is runoff. Yeah, from
Yeah,
the
that's
snow.
runoff water, and it is cold.
Oh, oh yeah. Well, and the other tragic flood was Cherry Creek during the I think it was the 30s when Castlewood Canyon Dam collapsed,
Oh
and
yeah,
there
yeah.
were some people that drowned in that as well.
Yeah,
Not
and then
very
of course,
many, but enough.
then there
But
was a flood in '65 there in Denver too. That was
yeah, that was on the Platte River.
Yep, the Platte River. Yep,
And yeah, there was a big
Cherokee.
downpour at Plum Creek, where Plum Creek empties in the Platte
Oh yeah,
River. And it's right near where, well, Chatfield is right at
yeah,
that junction. This is before Chatfield was built, and it was why it was built as flood control.
right.
And yeah, so
Oh, I remember it because we were living there, and we were cut off from my grandfather was on the other side of the Platte River. You had to cross the bridges. All the bridges were washed out, so we
right,
couldn't get there until they started rebuilding those bridges. So yeah,
yep. Oh yeah, that's right, Mark. They weren't going to get any. Yeah, all the kids couldn't
right,
have.
yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Well, and they talked about putting flash flood sirens out, and
Yeah,
but I think what's going to happen is, if what they're going to do now is the state is going to start putting them out. I don't know,
right.
be sort of like I mean, because we'll have a siren go off if we have a bad flash flood coming through,
Mm-hmm.
but we have tornado sirens here, and And but yeah, sometimes you'll hear one like, "What in the hell's that?" And then all of a sudden you get a warning, a flash flood
Right.
is in progress in the county somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that might have helped. But everything said and done, there just wasn't a whole lot they could do, and the Democrats and the liberals and their all of their hateful rhetoric is just
Oh, I know.
they are just so full of hate,
Yeah.
and they have no humanity left,
Yeah.
and that's because they no longer have a moral compass. They've chose to ignore that moral compass,
Right. Well,
and
their compass is power. They don't
yeah,
have it, and they want to do, whatever it takes. I mean, including violence,
yeah,
which is really scary.
yeah,
To them, it's any means necessary.
right,
And in their mind, they think anybody that doesn't think like them is evil. That there's something wrong with those people.
right,
Because I remember back in the day, we had friends that were liberal and we had conservative. We didn't care about politics. It was not, and then now it's like it's in everything.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
Like
and it's
soybean
like,
oil.
Like what?
Soybean oil.
Oh, it's like soybean oil. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, mm-hmm,
yeah,
mm-hmm,
yeah. It's it's just their rhetoric and their hate, and oh, the new Superman movie is supposed to really be good, or at least they were hoping it was. But then James Gunn comes out and says that well, Superman's an alien, and if you don't like him, if you don't like aliens, well, then you're not American. He's an immigrant. I'm sorry, he's an
Yeah.
immigrant. He's an
oh,
immigrant, and if you don't like immigrants, well, you're not American.
oh boy, yeah.
He had to go there,
Oh yeah, let's ruin the
From
movie. Let's do a Snow
what I
White.
understand, it's not a woke movie, but
Yeah.
I think if anybody but James Gunn had made it, it would have probably. James Gunn is good at what he at one time was pretty good at making movies, but now he's full of himself.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is, Alexa. That's all right. There we go.
Yeah,
But
there you go.
yeah, but yeah, it's the politics of, like you said, it's in everything. It's getting in everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep. And I think it goes all the way to, well, it started in the universities and colleges.
Oh yeah.
And then it started seeping into the high schools, and now it's in the elementary. I mean, it's like, man,
Well, yeah.
it's I just shake my head. It's like I thought about getting a what's called a fiance visa and getting Irene over here, and I thought I don't want her kids go to school here. I think they get a better education there in the Philippines, although they do believe a lot of this global warming bullshit, but
They
that's
live.
not as bad
They
as
live
this.
in the friggin' tropics. What do they expect?
Yeah, and it just
And all the
so
smog is that volcano going off.
yeah. There you go. Well, where she lives, they're quite a ways from any active volcanoes. They're over on the west side of the island. Where James is, he's got to worry about Taal going
Yeah.
off
Yeah, I know.
and getting a dumping of ash on his house. Yep.
Yep.
But yeah. But
Anyways, back here in the United States, what's going
yeah,
on? What
back
else
here
is
in the
new?
United States, we got a guy running for mayor of New York. He won the primary, and he's a socialist. And he's not. He's not. He's an immigrant. He's from East Africa. He's from the country of Uganda. Yeah. So he'll be the Idi Amin of New York. Yeah. There you go.
And I think, is that who I was reading? You sent me a link. His mother was an a
She's
Bollywood
a Bollywood director.
director. Yeah.
By the way, let's play that clip. All right.
All right. Yeah, let's go ahead.
Good
I didn't get through
segue.
all of it.
Let's see. All right.
Mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani is worth. Mamdani was born in Kampala, the capital of Uganda, in 1991. The same year, his Indian-American filmmaker mother, Mira Nair, released her second movie, Mississippi Masala, starring Denzel Washington. That was just 3 years after her debut feature film, Salam Bombay, which depicted the lives of children living in the city's slums and was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film. She's also known for Monsoon Wedding, which won the Golden Lion at the 2001 Venice Film Festival. The family moved to New York City when Mamdani was 7 years old, after his father, Mahmoud Mamdani, got a job teaching at Columbia University. The younger Mamdani attended Bank Street, a prestigious Manhattan private school, before graduating from the Bronx High School of Science, one of the city's best public schools. He then attended Bowdoin College, a private liberal arts school in Maine. After graduating in 2014, he worked on his mother's sets and took jobs working on several political campaigns and community organizing efforts, per a review of former resumes by the New York Times. He became a naturalized U.S. citizen in 2018. In 2020, Mamdani ran for a state assembly seat and won, beating a 5-term incumbent. The job pays $142,000 annually. Today, he lives in a $2,250 a month rent-stabilized Astoria apartment and doesn't own a car, taking the subway to his debate appearances. A quarter of a century after moving to the U.S., Mamdani's net worth today is still based in the East African country from which he emigrated. According to the financial disclosures he filed as a state assemblyman in 2023, he acquired 4 acres of land in Jinja, a region of Uganda bordering Lake Victoria that contains the source of the Nile River, in 2012. He lists the land's value as between $150,000 and $250,000. New York City disclosures don't require candidates to list cash accounts, so there's the possibility Mamdani's worth a bit more than the documents show. Another caveat, he married his wife, a Syrian-born artist, earlier this year after the disclosures were due, so any assets she has may not show up until next year's filings. And his social media-savvy outsider campaign to become New York's next mayor has carried him to victory in the Democratic primary, where he defeated the frontrunner, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who had pitched himself as an experienced hand on the wheel in a turbulent time. Forbes estimates Mamdani to be worth around $200,000, 50 times less than Cuomo, who we peg at $10 million. For full coverage, check out Kyle Kahn Mullins' piece on Forbes.com.
Well, that's why he wants to be a socialist.
Yeah.
So that he can get some of Cuomo's $10 million.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
$200,000 isn't, but he grew up in prestigious schools. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
Mad Props put up that kid is in his 30s and is only less than 3 years in the workforce. How can he run the world's largest city?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Exactly.
don't forget about his failed TV show, Mamdani and Marie. Well, now you know why it failed.
And here's the reason Art is no longer a practicing comedian.
Practicing. I'm still practicing. I just practice here on the YouTubes.
Oh,
And hey, Randy, good to see you. And he wants government-run grocery stores. Ooh, wow! Let's take a train ride back to the old Soviet Union. Let's see how well that turned out. Yeah,
yeah.
there you.
I can't wait to see the bread lines in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Remember those from the 80s? You know?
Yep. So
Yeah.
So his wife is Syrian, so that explains his anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
And oh man, and what's his mom's name? Oh God.
I can't remember.
Oh, let me play it again real quick. I'll just listen. It's a
Exactly, right? Yeah.
Mississippi. Oh yeah, that's the name of.
That's the name of her movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, something
Okay,
along there.
never mind. I thought it was a funny name. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But
Lloyd, where's
yeah,
your
I mean,
fancy fly swatter?
it's in there killing flies in my bedroom.
Ah, that's a good place for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are
You
just little
could,
bitty tiny gnats. And it,
well, you got some bats flying around in there too. Because I see them fly right across the screen, and
yeah, well, they're little bitty. The ones I see are just little bitty. Like
yeah, well,
the one
they'll
that,
make a little, yeah,
yeah.
a nice little
Well,
flash. Yep.
I should have ordered two of those, one for in here and one for in there, but I didn't.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at one, and they have a fancy schmancy one that has you could tilt the racket, you could tilt the head, and it's got a telescope on it, so
Oh, yeah.
you could squash them on the
Yeah, that's all
ceiling.
I need, a longer handle to knock shit down with. That's why I was
There
running into
you
that the
go.
other night.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So let's get back to Zohan.
The fancier it is, the more parts it has to fail. You know.
uh, yep, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy he's in his, what, I don't think he's even 30 years old, and he wants to run the city of New York. Are you kidding me? You know?
Well, hopefully those people that want some law and order and want some common sense back in the city, hopefully they won't vote for him. You know.
Well, Adams is running as an independent,
Independent. Yeah. Yeah.
and then Silwa, I, thanks to Charles, that popped in my head, is running as a Republican. So hopefully those two, but I'm
I'm
afraid
hoping
that,
Adams splits the Democrat vote.
yeah, there you go. Yeah,
You know,
yeah. And
which would help the Republicans.
yeah, mm-hmm, yep.
But
So that's what's going on there. And you know, $124,000 to be an assembly. You know how much it is to be a state senator here in Colorado? It's $40,000.
well, yeah, but that's New York. This is Colorado. Or yeah, that's Colorado.
Well, it's not that expensive in Albany. You could get an apartment up there.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot of, senators and state reps that are from the Western Slope, and they have apartments here in Denver, so they don't have to drive back and forth from, like, say, Grand Junction to Denver.
Right.
So they stay here, and they're only here from January till May, and then after the session's over, they go back. But now we're in special session. Oh, and get this. This is going to blow your mind. This fucking state wants a tax overtime. So here we are, we get this great big, no taxes on overtime, and these fuckers want to take away our money that we're getting from the feds. And it's not just Colorado, it's other
That's what happens
states.
when you live in a liberal state.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, and these assholes claim to be there for the working people. Fuck you. Screw them. Pardon
Tell
my
us how you
French.
really
I'm
feel,
a
Art. Tell us how you really feel, Art.
Yeah,
Don't hold
I was
back.
about to say that.
No, don't hold back.
Yeah, so it's like, man, I thought, oh, I'm getting a break from the feds. And then these assholes, from Boulder and Denver and the surrounding area, oh, we want to take that. I mean, this is like the analogy of the little kid getting an ice cream cone and some bully knocks the ice cream cone out of his hands. It's like, thank you, fucking Democrats. You guys are, you say
And this is the thing. This is why they wonder why they're polling so badly, why they're in such bad
right.
shape as a party.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And, and this is another good point about Donald Trump. Donald Trump has transformed the Republican Party. He's really changed the party to where it used to be corporate, businessmen and, guys that have been successful in business and stuff like that. Oh, those are the Republicans. Now it's flipped. Democrats used to be the People's Party. Now the Republicans are the People's Party because they're doing more for the common man than the Democrats have. The Democrats, what they want to do is they want to tax the shit out of you. You know why? Because the big corporations, like the tech giants, they love it. You know why? It keeps new and innovative startup companies from competing with them.
That's right.
So
that's right.
They regulate the shit out.
That's why he's pushing for so much of this innovation to be here in the United States now.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Instead of sending it overseas. Here's the thing: we may invent something, and it may be our company. It may be an American company, but then we send all of the parts. We send it overseas to have all the parts made to China.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then we wonder why they're stealing our property. Well, that's because we're sending them here's the blueprints to the next, the next super drone,
because they don't respect patents.
It's because every company over there is owned by the Chinese Communist Party. End of conversation. They can say you can argue that all day long, but they own 50% of every company.
Yep.
And even the companies that are American owned, all the manufacturing that's done overseas, like in China, those manufacturing companies are owned by, the manufacturing side of it. That manufacturing plant is 50% of it's owned by the Chinese Communist Party. It's that simple.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And people have such a hard time understanding that.
Yep.
And
it's like
I don't trust the Chinese.
Why Nike makes their shit in Vietnam is because it's cheaper to make it over there.
Right.
And because if we made it here, Nike shoes, instead of costing $300, will probably cost $500.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we probably don't have the manufacturing capability to make those shoes on a large scale like Vietnam can. Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
we did at one time, but we don't anymore.
Right. A little side note on Nike. Where you know what their slogan is? It's just
Yeah.
do it.
Oh, just
Oh,
do it. Yeah, yeah.
You know where that came from? You know, you remember Gary Gilmore? He was the murderer in Utah that was executed by firing squad.
By firing squad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I knew. Yeah,
His last words were,
just do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So some smart marketing firm changed it to
Just do it.
just do it. Yeah. So I thought, wow, I didn't know that's where that came from. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, as I don't own a pair of Nikes, and I don't know that I don't know if I've ever owned a pair.
Nope,
You know,
I never
right
did.
now
I
I got
always thought
Skechers.
$150 for sneakers. You
Yeah,
gotta
that's
be
why I
out
wouldn't
of-
ever buy them. They were too expensive. I may have owned a pair. I think I've got a pair in there, but they were like on closeout at a
Right,
J.C. Penney's special shoe sale. So it's like
right.
I got two pairs. I got one pair free, and I think I bought some Reeboks that I liked, and they were like half off. And
Right.
they threw the Nikes in just for the hell of it. And so
Right. Well, I
that's the only
think
reason I even
Lon's
have
got
that
a
pair.
bunch of Nikes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not into collecting shoes.
Yeah, me neither. What does Randy say? Yeah, you need.
Oh, well, that's because Captain Joe America got him a Bamboo Labs P1S, and he's needing Randy to come and put it together for him.
Ah, okay,
And
cool.
Joe's out of the hospital now, so he's
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
yeah, he got out of the hospital this week,
that's good.
and probably the day after they finally gave him a menu that he could order stuff on. And I
Yeah.
said, yeah. He showed it to me. I wrote back and said, yeah, they're probably letting you out tomorrow. And I think he got out the next day. So
Ah, okay. All I wear is Nike Air Force One and Air Jordans. Okay.
okay.
I
I
did
just
have some Reeboks. This was back in the mid '80s when
yeah.
I bought a pair of neon orange, and I wore them to the Super Bowl 21 in Pasadena,
Oh, yeah.
California. Broncos
Okay.
versus the Giants.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
How'd that
So
turn out? I don't remember.
we lost.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we didn't win until '97.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
That was when Elway was still playing.
Boy, I
He-
lost money back in what was it? First time they went to the Super Bowl was in the 70s, right?
yeah, that'd be 78.
78. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I caught hell over that because everybody knew I was from Colorado, and
And
I
who
had
did
to
they
just.
play?
I think they played Dallas, didn't they?
Dallas Cowboys. Yep.
Got their asses kicked. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I just
Greg
like
Norton got injured, and Norris
I was embarrassed. You know, it was embarrassing to you because everybody knew I was from Colorado. You know, because part of the guys I went to tech school with, and they all knew, you know, from Texas, because that was when tech school was at Lowry Air Force Base at the time.
Right.
So. But yeah, that was I just like
Yeah. Well, that was
well,
back when the Raiders were still a really good team,
yeah,
and the Steelers were still really good. So we got past those guys, and we thought, oh well, okay, we could beat anybody, and then we got trounced. Yeah,
oh yeah, Dallas just kicked their asses.
yeah,
Yeah.
And, well, my parents were house painters. They painted Norris Weiss's house. So,
Okay.
yep. So that's my only connection to the Broncos.
Yeah. When did the Broncos actually start?
1960.
1960. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I know for years growing up in Colorado, especially growing up in Denver, they'd never had a winning team. You know.
no, it wasn't. Well, they had one in '72.
As I said, I was already out of Denver by then. Yeah.
And then they played mediocre until they they got to that Super Bowl, and then they kind of, they played mediocre, okay, until Pat Bowlen bought the team and turned them around and hired this young former Dallas Cowboy player named Dan Reeves.
Right.
And Dan Reeves got the Broncos to 5 Super Bowls, lost every one. Then we got rid of him, and we hired his assistant, Mike Shanahan. And guess what? He won back-to-back Super Bowls.
Yeah. Reeves could get him there, but he couldn't take him over the top. That was always the.
And another side note is one of those Broncos wins was against Atlanta Falcons. And who was the coach? Dan Reeves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Then they floundered a little for a while, and then in 2014 they made it to a Super Bowl, and this was when Peyton Manning was playing, and right off the bat we just sucked. We got our heads handed. Following year, made it back to the Super Bowl, and Cam Newton was playing for the Panthers, and everybody thought, oh, there's no way they could beat those guys. Oh, man, Cam Newton couldn't do shit. And the Broncos won that game. So, all right, that's all the sports that I've got. And we've done a little over an hour. And we had good crowd. So we had a lot of really neat stuff to talk about. And sorry for my fiery use of words. I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming. Randy, good to see you. Glad you could make it. Alexa, it's always good to see you. Hope everything is doing better. Take care, everybody, and God bless. Good night, everybody.
Later,
Good night,
everyone.
folks.